Hello, I'm Frank Stanisci of Candid Frank Live, where you'll find us airing our views here on the Spanglish World Radio Network on Zingo TV channel 250. Please remember to download the Zingo TV app at the respective app stores for iOS and Android devices. While you download, make sure you rate and comment, rate and leave a comment. Both apps are absolutely free. Zingo TV is available on Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire TV sticks, Roku sticks, and also on all smart TVs 2016 forward. Now, joining me on Candid Frank Live, as usual, is Aaron William Freeland. And I got to tell you, I saw a post, and I think it was related to you.
Okay.
Basically, saying, or was it you? Well, someone like us who said that if you're not angry about what happened, what the Supreme Court did, then there's something wrong with you.
Okay.
Sound familiar?
No, not something I wrote,
Oh, okay. All right.
but it sounds like somebody I know could have wrote it.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying then.
Yeah.
Maybe I saw it because it was on your Facebook, I think maybe. But it doesn't matter. I think the point is that many think that not only are they affected by what happened, they feel that everybody should be affected. Then I'll ask you, how do you feel about that?
What if I'm not upset over the
Yeah, are
mass
you
amounts of
affected? You don't have to be upset. Are you affected by what the Supreme Court decided? In other words, striking down Roe versus Wade.
not personally, but I know people who will be, and I
Yeah,
know
okay.
people who potentially are.
Yeah, okay. All
So
right.
it's a concern.
Yeah, okay. All right. When we left last week on Friday, I was irate about it because I saw it coming. And the reason I saw it coming is that we on the left, depending on how far left you are, have created an atmosphere of lack of progress. So it's kind of funny where you hope that people on the left who carry the banner of being progressive are the reason why things aren't progressive. I'll cite an example, and this is why I was really irritated, and I didn't make my point well enough then, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. Let me ask you, what percentage, if you were to attach a percentage of votes that the Democrats may have lost percentage wise, how many people do you think were turned off by the term defund the police if they felt it was attached directly to the Democratic Party? Is there a
Um,
number you could give in your own mind?
not off the top of my head. I mean,
I'll,
I
I'll
can
try. I'll
understand.
try
I
then.
can understand phrasing it in a certain way to try to upset a certain portion of the population by misleading them as to the true intent behind to defund the police. I can certainly see that, but I can't give you a percentage as to how many people might actually stop voting for Democrats
Okay,
because they think
not a
defund the
percentage
police
then.
actually means defund the police.
Not you see, and there it is. That's why that's at the root of what I was um I couldn't figure out why I was so upset. And then I thought about it and thought about it for a long time because I don't like being upset. And I don't like being upset not understanding why I'm upset because I've learned through time that sometimes your frustration and even anger is misguided. And by that I mean the reason you think you're angry and frustrated is misguided. So I tried to clear it in my own head. And from my perspective, then I'll tell you from my perspective, the defund the police thing, I don't want to get into a debate about what's intended, what isn't intended. And the reason I say that, Aaron, is because the fact that we're having that conversation where we're doing this dance about what does it mean, who really cares, what's the point, all that stuff doesn't matter. Because what matters is there are people who, when they hear that term, they, as you suggest by our conversation, they project onto what that means to them, right? You know what I mean? Like, so a person who's not that far left or even does not agree with defund the police is going to say, see, that's what they want to do. And I think that comment, and I know through through very important Democrats that I've trusted over the years, whose opinion I listen to as sort of a purpose for me to educate myself. didn't like that term and felt it was going to hurt them during the election, the 2020 election. And I think they were right. And even if it's only as little as 2 points, let's say, 2 percentage points of people voting are affected. Of 100% of the voters, only 2%. Just because of that, I don't trust what the Democrats are going to do. Here's my point, and this is what frustrates me, being somebody who wants to see social justice up there, who wants to see an understanding of people who maybe are not getting their fair share, in other words, or their a fair representation, or they're not, as you brought up, being carded, which is, since 2020, it's been outlawed. The federal government made it illegal. So that's not happening anymore. It should never have happened. I want to make that clear as well. So as long as there's only a small percentage, even if there's only a small percentage, those are a lot of seats you can lose by just narrow margin. And sometimes, the misguided people on the left who think that if they use words to attack somebody, that it helps their people understand why they're attacking them or what they're trying to say about them. But other people take it differently, like I do. I was offended by that. Aaron, can you understand why that would offend me to hear something like that?
Okay, which are we talking about now here? Am
Defund
I
the
talking
police.
about carding,
Still
which was
defund.
discontinued
No,
in
no.
2020,
Still
or defund
defunding the police. The carding issue is done. It's done. It's
Okay.
illegal to do that. It's illegal to do that. If the police do it, make sure you find out. And I'm telling. And not only is it done, when they stop somebody now, because I did a little bit of research in this, not long. I didn't spend a long time. When the police stop somebody, they have to give somebody a receipt. In other words, they have to tell them why they're stopping them, and also give them evidence that they're being stopped. So there's a great opportunity in that sense, that there is an accountability there. So forget the carding. The carding's not an issue now, in my opinion. Would you agree if what I read and what I heard and what I
Well,
saw
I
is
mean,
true?
that's if your opinion is that carding is done, then that's fine. We'll close that. I have no desire to relitigate that, or you know
Okay.
set you off again and have another rant.
No, it's
Um,
done. It's done. I'm not the carding
okay,
part. The carding part. The carding part to me was, I thought we as a society felt that was, draconian, unnecessary, and downright overextension of the police. I
so
think
what
we
we're
all
looking
agree
at
on that.
then now is do we believe that defund the police is confusing? Is that what we're looking at
Yes,
now?
I'm saying at the very least, it's confusing, and it allows for people, the people who don't want to be progressive or make change in the policing, who don't want to make change in the policing, use that as an example of, see, that's what they want. So it's basically, the point I'm making, Aaron, is I agree 100% with this stuff, but I also feel that there's not enough respect. That was a disrespectful term, in my opinion.
So
And
your entire beef with it, then, Frank, if I can just distill it down to brass
go
tacks,
ahead.
for those of us on the left who prefer to micromanage issues and look at it that way, your issue then is with the wording, not with the intent.
No, absolutely not with the intent. The intent is
Right. So
100%
had they chosen a different way of expressing the idea of defund the police as perhaps a
bingo.
reallocate police funding in order to properly serve a neglected portion of society through increased mental health initiatives, it's not nearly as catchy as defund the police.
Right.
And
It's not as
I
catchy,
understand.
but
I
it's
understand
not
you.
as negative either. It's not as catchy, and it's not as negative. And
And that
well, it,
blunts its effectiveness.
no, it
The,
doesn't,
the fact that I
because
have to make it 3 times as long to try to get the main idea across instead of something short and punchy in a
yeah, but yeah,
soundbite and
short and
hashtag
punchy
driven
can be
world.
stop police brutality.
We tried that. We also tried
Well,
Black Lives Matter. We also tried a whole bunch of other stuff that hasn't seemed to have worked, Frank.
I
So
thought I thought Black Lives Matter worked really well. I thought when they painted it on the Washington Mall street right in front of the White House. In fact, it upset Donald Trump so much he asked them to remove it, and they said, "Nope, we're not removing it." And then some people erased it, and other people went and put it back in again. So I think, see, I think you underestimate the long-term good of trusting people to understand the nuance of what you're talking about.
Okay,
Again,
so let's try a different thought experiment here
go
then,
ahead.
Frank.
Go ahead.
You have issue with the term defund the police.
I
We
have
need
issue with
something.
any
Hold
time
on,
the left.
hold on,
Go
hold
ahead.
on. We have a new ad campaign. We want you to come up with something short and punchy that will describe the new intent.
Okay,
I've already
Aaron,
described it as
you're
serving
you're now
marginalized
you're now
communities.
giving me exactly what is the problem. That's the problem,
Well,
Aaron.
so you've delineated the problem, but I haven't heard any solutions.
Here's the solution, Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
Vote for me because, and if it takes 2 minutes for me to describe to you why I want you to vote for me, then you're not paying attention. All right.
No,
So
because you're
it's
going to
my
lose
job. It's
somebody
my
after the first
job. It's
seconds.
my job. It's my job if I want to get elected. It's my job if I want to promote ideas that
Mm-hmm.
I promote ideas that are legitimate, accurate, specific, and not derisive, not abusive, not negative. See, defunding the police is the left's version of what the right does when it comes to knocking people down. Rather than making a point, you're just attacking somebody. See, I don't believe that attacking somebody or a group of people to make a point is right. Even if you have the right point, even if you are 100% right in what you're doing, aggressive language benefits no one. Aggressive language benefits no one. So now we got to work really hard, just like when now the new thing's going to be, they're going to want to pack the the Supreme Court, right? They want to pack the Supreme Court now. And they're going to say we need to put 4 new judges in there to make things equal. So they don't want to make things equal. They want to give themselves an advantage because the 6-3 is the number that we're looking at right now in the Supreme Court. So to make it equal, you have to add 4. You don't see the disingenuous nature of the conversation that some Democrats are trying to promote. They're not trying to promote equity, equality, fairness. They're trying to do what 2 parties try to do, get an advantage. I'm not saying on top of that, and you can jump in, that I don't want Democrats or Democrat thinking people to get more power back because they lost it through pretty good theft, is the only way to describe it. What McConnell did was theft. They stole a Supreme Court justice. So I'm not on that side of the equation. I'm on the side of the equation that you want to be on, but I'm not as far left as you are. And I know that the people next to me don't like not you, and I don't want to make this personal, that people who are on the far left are extreme, just like people on the right are far right are extreme. Somehow, Aaron, using terms like defund the police, and now this next election that the Democrats are going to be fighting with Republicans, which many say they're going to lose. And the reason this is important to me, I'm not American, I'm Canadian, is that there's stuff for us to learn. Just like when Roe versus Wade was struck down, our top politician, namely the prime minister, kicked in and said, this ain't gonna happen, right? And we all know that that the Conservative Party in Canada is already working on doing something to that effect, right? And what I'm trying to say, and I hope you can understand this and every viewer can understand this, is that I hope we can use logic, common sense, and decent conversation to help make our point why it's important that women have rights. So on that subject, when it comes to, you have an opinion on what you consider as a woman's free choice by
Well, put it this
definition.
way. When it comes to something like abortion, when it comes to something like Roe v. Wade, what people need to understand in the larger context of things is making it illegal won't make it
Right.
go away.
And
That's
that's
not,
wrong, right?
yeah.
That's wrong because there's a reason. There are reasons at the top of the list. A young woman that gets raped, a 13-year-old daughter of a father who rapes her and impregnates her, they don't want to have that child. And we in conversation can determine whether we think that that poor child should have that baby, right? That's on that what I consider the higher scale of what most people, more people say, well, if there's going to be an abortion, that seems like a good reason. Agreed?
Well, I think the three major reasons would be rape, incest, and health of the mother.
Right. And that's
Those are the three major ones there.
now what we got on the other side now, and this is why I'm so irritated. I'm not just irritated by the left, by the way. I'm irritated by both because now what we're getting on the right is they're saying no excuse, no abortion. In other words, a woman could be dying on an operating table, right? A woman could be dying on an operating table, and the cops are going to come and say, wait, is this an abortion? Or are you really trying to save her life before they let the doctors do that? Or the doctor gets arrested. You and everybody like you are 100% right there. But now the leader of the Senate has said that he wants to make it so a woman can have an abortion up until 9 months.
Okay. I mean, according to the Bible, it's not an actual human until it draws breath, which is why the Catholic Church, one of the major tent poles when it comes to installing people in office and getting behind and lobbying for law changes, even though Congress is not technically supposed to make any religiously based law, won't provide Catholic death rights for stillborn babies.
Or for
So
sinners.
technically
'Cause
speaking,
they're
according
considered, yeah, I hear
exactly.
you. I hear you. I
So
hear you. I hear you.
in order for it to be considered a baby, it has to have drawn breath. So saying you need an
But
abortion
that's
at
not
up to
what
nine
I was
months,
raised in the Catholic
if
Church, and that's
if
not what I was told.
if somebody, for example, if a baby is stillborn and it's going septic and the baby's already dead, is it really an abortion if you're taking it out at 8.5 months?
If it's dead, obviously not. Any reasonable thinking person, you an abortion. What you're talking about, to me, you're asking me now. I'm not the Catholic Church.
No, I know you're not the
If
Holy
you
See.
if
Thank
you're
goodness.
if you're taking out if you're taking out a baby that's died inside a mother's womb, whom by the way is now under threat if that baby died in her womb. Now that woman has a problem. So, there's in my mind, I think I said it before, and I should say this to begin with. I believe in women having a choice. Okay. I'm not for abortion. I'm not a promoter of abortion. I do believe that that's a living being inside the mother. But I also believe it's not for me to decide every individual case. It's not for me to decide what somebody who understands the situation they're in better than I am, for me to pass judgment on them and tell them they can't do something. But I'm trying to understand what other people are saying. I'm listening to both sides. And I don't like what Schumer said. 9 months. So it's not a question. So now what you're doing when you do that, this is again what's wrong with the left. This is where the left loses people, right? So now he says up until 9 months. Well, then they had people who were saying, you know, um, the three reasons you said, right? They had those people. Now you're saying you want to go to 9 months, and it doesn't matter whether you think the child, is a human, is a breathing person, whether they're breathing, whether they're not breathing. But there are people out there, Aaron, who believe that's a living being inside the woman. So if we don't arrive at a conclusion that somewhere meets, and literally, it seems, meets somewhere in the middle as opposed to one side or the other, we're going to argue this till the cows come home. And I, as a person who's not trying to create law, I'm just trying to understand people. That you have on one side, Schumer says you can abort a child, a fetus, or whatever you want to call it, up until 9 months, almost until they're born. And then you have somebody else who says no matter what. That's a deep ass chasm, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. I mean,
So you and
there
I can
does need to
argue
be
about
some
this.
sort of an understanding. I know.
You and I aren't going to argue
there's no
about this
way.
because this isn't even our problem. I mean, it is our problem because people we care about are going to be affected by it. But all I'm trying to say is it's not my direct problem. It's not a problem I have a right to draw a conclusion on because it doesn't affect me. And I think what the bottom line and the only point I want to make here today is I don't have the right to decide other people's lives that are different than mine. A set of circumstances that someone has. I can't come in a helicopter and go, I'm looking at your situation and this is what you should do. I don't think so. I think the people who are living in the situation have the right to make that determination. So I'm just in a long-winded kind of way. I'm inside. My heart is hurting for every woman that suffers unnecessarily because of a pregnancy that shouldn't be, can't be, and then I have trouble with the one they don't want. Okay, so that's, and it's not, again, I don't like that. I don't like the idea that somebody gets an abortion because they don't want to carry the birth. That's just me. I have a hard time with that. Right? That
I can certainly appreciate that, but for a 17-year-old girl who gets pregnant while still
right.
in high school,
Yeah, I hear
mean,
you.
that is the gray area that you start to get into because
And there's a tier here because to me, as I've expressed, I think of that it's not a thing that's in there. It's another. It's to me, it's a human being, and if you've ever had children, um, the attachment you have to that person, in my word, this person inside your partner, you talk to it, you care about it, you love it, you want the best for it, you you stop smoking, you stop drinking, you change everything you do to give that future, just for the sake of discussion, that future child the best opportunity at being healthy and strong, because those are the first steps that a mother and or two mothers, or see, getting politics, that child has waiting for them. And that's and it makes me hurt to think that there are going to be women who are dying because you know of a law that basically has, and I'm going to say this and nobody's going to like me for saying this, that does have a good intent. But just like on the right they have the good intent, on the left they have the good intent, Aaron, in their own hearts and in their own minds. And I don't think there's any evil on either side. But somehow there has to be a compromise made. And today with medical technology, this is the other thing. Even with what's gone on now, Aaron, do you agree that women can get abortions a lot easier today than they could before? And there are ways for them to do it. Is that not good news?
that is certainly good
Right?
news. I would, however, like to finish off with this thought, Frank.
Please do. You
A
got the
lot
last
of
couple of minutes.
a lot of laws are made with the best intentions in mind, and they're designed to protect or to enshrine or to advance certain things or certain agendas, but they're always done with best intentions. But we
Always.
all know what the road to hell is paved with.
Exactly. It's
So
going through my
I'm
head
just
the
going to
whole
put
time.
that out there, and it's unfortunate that that's where we end off today. But that is basically the way that I see these things. We all try everything with the best intentions, but unfortunately, it doesn't always end up the right way.
Not doing this with the Bible. I'm just doing this with my heart. I pray for every woman out there who has to make a tough decision. When making that tough decision, they get the opportunity to do what's best for them, their future, and in some cases, even their family. Aaron, thanks for doing this
Thank you, Frank.
and allowing me the chance to clarify a little better.
I appreciate that.
I'm Frank Stanisci of Candid Frank Live, and he's Aaron William Freeland. Thanks for watching Candid Frank Live, Aaron Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 6 p.m. This show can also be heard on the Spanglish World Radio Network. For Candid Frank Live, other news, entertainment, and sports programming we offer, please check out spanglishworld.ca. Spanglish World. Watch it, hear it, read it, download it, and live it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Ciao for now.